Hello guys, this is gonna be the audio video recording of Is There an Indian Way of Thinking? An informal essay by A.K. Ramanujan. Walterman Benjamin once dreamed of hiding behind a phalanx of quotations which, like highwaymen, would ambush the passing reader and rob him of his convictions. Stanislavski had an exercise for his actors. He would give them an everyday sentence, like, bring me a cup of tea, and ask them to say it 40 different ways, used it to beg, question, mock, wheedle, be imperious, etc. My question, is there an Indian way of thinking, is a good one for such an exercise? Depending on where the stress is placed, it contains many questions, all of which are real questions, asked again and again when people talk about India. Here are possible versions. Is there an Indian way of thinking? 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 The answers are just as various. Here are few. There was an Indian way of thinking. There isn't anymore. If you want to learn about the Indian way of thinking, do not ask your modern day certified Indians. Go to the Pandits, the Vedas, the old texts. On the contrary, India never changes. Under the veneer of the modern, Indians still think like the Vedas. The second question might elicit answers like these. There is no single Indian way of thinking. There are great and little traditions, ancient and modern, rural and urban, classical and folk. Each language, caste, and region has its special worldview. So under the apparent diversity, there is really a unity of viewpoint, a single super system. Vedas see a Vedic model in all Indian thought. Nehru made a phrase, university in diversity, an Indian slogan. The Sahitya Academy line has been Indian literature is one, though written in many languages. The third question might be answered. What we see in India is nothing special to India. It is nothing but pre-industrial, pre-printing press, face-to-face agricultural and feudal. Marxists, Freudians, Macleanites all have their labels for the stage in India is in. According to their schemes of social evolution, India is only an example. Others, of course, would argue the uniqueness of the Indian way and how it turns all things, especially rivals and enemies, into itself. Look at what happened to Indo-Europeans in India. They would say their language shots with retroflexes, their syntax with nominal compounds. They lose their nerve. The British are the only most recent example, according to Nirath Chaudhary. Look what happens to Buddhism, Islam, the Parsis. There is an Indian way, and it imprints and patents all things that enter the continent. It is inescapable, and it is bigger than all of us. The fourth question may question whether Indians think at all. It is the West that is materialistic, rational. Indians have no philosophy, only religion, no positive sciences, not even a psychology. In India, matter is subordinated to spirit, rational thought to feeling, intuition. And even when people agree that this is the case, we can have arguments for and against it. Some lament, others celebrate India's unthinking ways. One can go forever. I certainly have stood in one or another of these stances at different times. We have not heard the end of these questions or these answers.